I got so caught up in the idea of being married that I lost myself in the process. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching this, welcome back to my channel. So today we are talking about Married at First Sight, Season 12, Episode 12. So the title of this episode was called Must Love Dogs, and they did a cute little montage throughout the episode about how all of the wives had dogs prior to coming into this experiment. And so now all of the husbands are dog dads. And so some of it was kind of cute to watch. Other parts were not so cute, but we will get into that later. So yeah, other than that, they kind of just showed like updates on how the couples are doing. Again, some of the couples are falling off the rails and other couples are staying on track and they're doing great. So let's go ahead and jump straight into this review and see how everyone is doing. All right, y'all. I have to start with Virginia and Erik because so much happened between them in this episode, and I'm not even sure I fully have my thoughts together on how to explain this, how I feel about it, but let's go. Buckle up. That was my seatbelt. Okay, it all started with Virginia and Erik in the bedroom talking about Virginia's dog, Rocky. Erik was comparing Virginia's dog to her personality. So basically saying that like they act alike. And he was saying that him and his dog, Tex, act alike as well. Basically saying that like Rocky doesn't have manners and needs to be trained and his behavior sucks because he bites people and jumps on people and all this stuff. And Tex is like very well mannered, and if Erik tells him to sit down, then he'll stay there for the rest of the day or whatever. And so Virginia started getting defensive because she's like, well, I got this dog when I was in a very bad mental state. He saved my life. So don't come at my dog like that, basically. And she gets annoyed. She leaves the room and she goes outside of the apartment and starts talking to one of the camera crew people. And she's saying how like she's frustrated, she's annoyed, and she wants to get out of this situation. And she reveals that they actually got into an argument the night before. So the camera cuts to like a scene of them arguing in their apartment last night. Apparently they went out to a bar and Virginia disappeared for like 40 minutes. Erik couldn't find her, so he got upset. Fast forward back to the current day. Virginia is still upset about that argument because I guess they never resolved the conflict. And now Erik is bringing up her dog, saying that the dog needs to have better training. And so now she's even more annoyed with him. So she walks back into the bedroom. She explains all of this to him like, hey, I don't like that you talk about Rocky like that. Also, we were just arguing last night. Like, can we just have a good day? All this stuff, right? And Erik, of course, is just like, no, we're fine. Like, last night was fine, blah, blah, blah. Like, we're not still, like, heated from that. And Virginia was just like, can you stop acting like everything is okay when it's not? And I was like, yes, thank you. Like, let him know that he's delusional. And he was just like, well, in a marriage. And she immediately was like, can you stop saying that too? Like, she is sick of the stuff that we as viewers have been sick of since the beginning. Like, she's finally calling him out on his stuff. Like, stop saying that you've been married before, like you just know the whole rule book to marriage and you're telling me how it should be, right? But you can see her like physically shutting down. Like, she's just like, I am over this. Like, I am just not trying to like engage in this conversation anymore. Erik starts saying this wild stuff like, well, if you want to go, there's the door. Like, I've been hurt before, I'll be hurt again. You can think whatever you want about me. Like, if you don't want to be in this, then you don't have to be here. All this stuff. And that's when my eyes started twitching because I'm like, I literally had people say that to me before. Like, no, will not say stuff like that. Like, that is not helping any type of situation. And so as he's saying all this, I am just like shocked and surprised that like he thinks it's okay to talk to her like that. And I was like, Virginia, leave. Like, this is done because like he's only going to get worse. So later they attempt to reconcile everything that happened. I didn't really believe it. It didn't seem genuine. And so later on in the episode, they end up having another discussion, and Rocky's behavior comes up again. And Virginia was just like, here we go, always talking about Rocky. Like, what is wrong with this dog? Like, nothing's wrong with him. He doesn't need to be trained. Like, he's fine. And Erik's like nitpicking all the things about him that he doesn't like, essentially. The producer has to like step in and was just like, Virginia, like, are you good? Like, do you need something? And she was like, I need to leave. That's what I need to do. And so she gets up, she walks away. Erik is just still sitting there looking dumbfounded. Like, he's just like, I don't know what's going on, because he never knows what's going on, because it's like he's not even in this relationship, because he just thinks everything is fine when really he's causing all these issues. I think that Erik is just trying to force this marriage to work because he just doesn't want to get divorced again, which I understand, but like, you cannot force this woman to change who she is because she doesn't fit what your version of this marriage is. You know what I'm saying? And it was interesting because in the preview for next week, all the couples, well, all of the like individuals sit down with Dr. Pepper, who has been MIA this season, side note. And Erik was telling her that like, I asked for someone who's independent, but like now basically I don't know if I can handle it. And I'm just like, that's what you get. Like, you don't want someone independent. You said that because you thought that's what you needed, when really you want to control somebody. That's what you want. And so while majority of their scenes were centered around Virginia's dog, the root of the issue is really Erik's control problems and how he just wants someone who is super, super submissive and just does whatever he says and fits his idea of what this should be. At the end of all of their scenes, like, they do like share their perspectives of like where they're both coming from with all of this, and they seemingly make everything okay, but like, I don't believe it. I still don't like him. He's wild. On to Clara and Ryan. So this week they both do tantric yoga, which is a type of yoga that's supposed to help them build their like sexual chemistry between each other. It didn't go the way Clara wanted it to go, because she was hoping that, you know, their sexual connection would build and that hopefully Ryan would give up the goods that night or something, right? But when they were like debriefing on like how they think it went, Ryan was just like super awkward about it. And he was just like, I mean, I don't know. Like, when I do yoga, I try to focus on myself. Like, I wasn't really thinking about anything else. And Clara was just like, that was so not the point of us doing that. Like, you were supposed to want to, you know, throw me up against the wall afterwards. Like, what? And so Clara was just still sexually frustrated at how they've been, or how they haven't been, progressing throughout their relationship, because she was like, I can't continue to be married to a man who won't have sex with me indefinitely. She ends up talking to the wives about this. This scene was from the viewpoint of just like one of the cameras in the room. Like, it wasn't the crew members filming this. It was just like the wives having like a girl night. Actually, it looked like an emergency meeting. You know how like you're in distress and you just call up your friends and you're like, I need to see y'all ASAP. And so it looked like they all just met in one of their apartments, and Clara was telling them that like, I don't understand what he's waiting for. Like, what is happening? And she was just like, I basically do all this stuff to you sexually, but like, you can't please me. It's a very one-sided situation. And so I'm just like, girl, why don't you stop pleasing him then? Like, like, if he wants to wait, then like, make him wait too. You know what I'm saying? They do end up having another conversation about sex, and Ryan is still leaving Clara in the dark about when it's going to happen. You can just tell that like, she kind of feels like defeated at this point. Even though Ryan isn't blowing Claire's back out, I do think it's cute how he's trying to build this relationship with her dog, Miska, because he told her that he wants to have like a one-on-one training session with the dog, because he wants to get to know her like dog language and like what she likes and doesn't like, and like basically become like a present dog dad in her life. And I thought that was really sweet. Things like that let me know that like Ryan really is in this for, like, he has good intentions, you know what I mean? But Clara is definitely not seeing it like that. Like, I think she, in the moment, she's like, oh, that's really cute. But like, bigger picture, she's not looking at that. Like, she's like, no, like, we need to have sex. I really don't know how they can get on the same page with this whole situation, because obviously sex has to be consensual. But I'm sure the more Clara keeps bringing this up, the more Ryan is just going to like retreat into himself. You know what I mean? Maybe they should take a page out of Karen and Miles' book from last season and just take sex completely off the table, so that way the expectation can just disappear and they don't have to even think about that for the rest of this experiment. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think they should meet with Dr. Viviana again and get some tips and tools from her as well and see what they can do to work through this. All right, next up is Haley and Jacob. So in this episode, they apologized from the argument they had last week. So remember, they were at the winery and Jacob basically blew up at Haley and he apologized for that. And so they decide to just like, let's leave the heavy, intense conversations, leave them on the floor, and let's just have a fun day. Let's have a lighthearted day. You know what I mean? Like, let's just do something fun. And so they go and ride go-karts. Haley ended up winning, and that girl is a sore winner. Like, she was rubbing it all in his face, and I was like, girl, you annoying. Like, she said her family does like competitive go-kart racing or something like that. And I was like, who does that? What? And so that was interesting. They also cooked dinner together, and Haley was asking Jacob about like his past relationships and like, you know, like why they end, what kind of people were they, all that kind of stuff. And he dated someone known as like the Pumpkin Queen or something. I don't know. It was weird. Very on brand for him. Haley was saying that she just feels like she has to interview Jacob. Like, he doesn't really engage in conversations with her. Like, he'll just answer the question and that's it. Like, he doesn't really like try to like ask her that same question, or like, you know, like he's just not a very good conversationalist, which I'm sure could be frustrating for her. And so she was talking to Briana about this because Briana Vincent, Haley, and Jacob all went to like a sunflower field. Haley was telling Briana like, yeah, like I don't think he's really trying to get to know me. Like, it's just me asking him all these questions or whatever. They also both talked about separately that she doesn't understand his humor. So she told Briana, I don't get his humor. And Jacob told Vincent like, yeah, I don't think she gets my humor. And so that was also apparent when they were cooking dinner, because Jacob was attempting to make a joke about something. I think about like wearing an apron, like food tastes better when you wear an apron. And Haley was not laughing. Like, she was like, this is not funny. And I was just like, yeah, that's going over her head. Like, she does not connect with him on that level. When it came to their dog situation, so Jacob was already a dog dad before meeting Haley, and he had like 3 dogs, and then Haley had 1 dog. And so one of Jacob's dogs is a psycho. Like, whatever that dog, kept trying to like bite Haley's dog and just like growling all the time. Like, it's a very aggressive animal. And so I was like, if that was me and my dog, we're gonna have to fight, because your dog is not about to try and come in mine. On to Paige and Chris. So Paige has dinner with her brother and her sister-in-law, and she updates them on all things that have been going on with Chris. And one of my first thoughts was, girl, have you not been talking to them this whole time? Like, why is this the first time they're hearing all this information? And so anyway, she was telling them all this, and she was basically saying like, you know, I am knowing my self-worth. Like, I felt devalued as a woman, but like now I'm knowing what I deserve and what I'm worth. And she said, I got so caught up in the idea of being married that I lost myself in the process. And I was like, whoo, girl. I was like, that was a word. Put that on a t-shirt, girl. That was so profound, because I feel like a lot of women go through that, because we all just want a wedding sometimes, not even the marriage. We just want a wedding, but we don't really think about like what that entails. And then also we just lose ourselves in that whole process, because we'll just like settle for any old body. And I think that's what Paige was going through. And so I'm proud of her for like admitting that and really like taking her power back in this situation and being like, you know, forget him. Like, like I deserve more than that. I'm worth more than that. On to the next. So with Chris, he ended up having dinner with his mom. He's updating her as well on what's been going on with Paige. And he tells her that me and Paige are no longer going to continue with this process. We're going to get a divorce. His mom said like, I'm sad, but like I understand, because she really liked Paige. And Paige also told the wives the same thing that she told her brother and sister-in-law, that she's officially done with Chris. And they were all happy for her, as we all should be. I'm just hoping that she sticks to it. I have faith in her that she will. And when it came to like their dog montage, they didn't really have one because Chris hasn't been around. Paige's dog's name is Bentley, and Chris was literally like, I don't give a about Bentley. And I was like, whoa, he's very on brand. He's just a trash human. All right, last is Briana and Vincent. So they didn't have much going on, but in the beginning they had some playful banter between them about how Vincent has already taken Briana on this extravagant date. Remember, he took her on the boat last episode. And so now Briana needs to take him on a date. And so she was like, okay, where do you want to go? And he was like, I want to go to New York. I want to go to LA. I want to go to the aquarium. I want to go to the zoo. And she was just like, am I paying for all of this? He was like, oh yeah, absolutely. And so it was just a cute little interaction between them. Later on, they ended up going on a bike ride. Remember, he bought her a bike as a surprise, and he was saying how like it's really important for him for both of them to be healthy together, and exercise and work out and stuff. They're riding around the city. They make a bet that like whoever wins like this race, that he would have to clean the dishes for a week and she would have to do like 10 or 15 push-ups or something. I don't really remember who ends up winning or losing because she still ends up doing the push-ups and he still says he's gonna clean the dishes. So I don't remember, but it was cute. They were cute as always. They also went to that sunflower field with Haley and Jacob, and they were basically just like giving them advice on things that could probably help them in their marriage because they talk to them separately. So we'll see if they take any of their advice, because as of right now, they are the couple on the right track for the season. So we'll see how that goes. Also, all the husbands did get together and have a conversation about like the importance of compromise in a marriage, admitting when you're wrong, the importance of vulnerability in a relationship. I just thought that was a really cool conversation to include in this episode because I just love seeing men talk about being vulnerable, just relationships in general. Like I just love seeing commitment in men. And so it was just nice seeing them like kind of swap advice on like saying like, oh, this worked for me, this doesn't work for me. All right, y'all, that wraps up my review of Married at First Sight, season 12, episode 12. I'm really interested to see next week's episode because all of them are individually meeting with Dr. Pepper to talk about how the season has been going so far. And apparently some secrets are going to be revealed and some intense conversations are going to happen from that. So I'm ready to see it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see y'all next week. Bye.